consequences of that be enough for you to say, hey, I want to change my life?
Just what?
As a drug addict?
No, don't think like her. Think like you.
Oh, yeah, in a panic.
You might think, yeah, but wrong, because your wife is going to replace the $4,000 every time you take it out. How about your reputation? What was your name again? Tony. How about your reputation? This is a small town. Hey, it's Crackhead Tony. Hey, Crackhead Tony. Would the embarrassment of being Crackhead Tony be enough for you to want to change, especially in your position? You might think yes. But the answer is no, because we in this room are going to keep it a secret because we don't want to hurt you. I don't want you to be embarrassed. Let's keep it a secret. What is enabling? We protect the image, the reputation of our loved one. Why? Because we love them. What is enabling? I take the responsibilities of the loved one because I want to help them. Enabling did for me the exact same thing that drugs did for me. Drugs do three things for a guy like me. Number one, they make me more comfortable. Make my life more comfortable. If I drank a beer right now, I'd be a little bit more comfortable up here. You'd never shut me up. I would talk for another 3 hours. Makes me more comfortable. The second thing that drugs and alcohol do for me is they take away negative consequences. And you're thinking, oh no they don't. They give you, wrong. If I got the IRS after me and a warrant out for my arrest, take a hit off the crack pipe and it's all gone for the next 20 minutes. The third thing that drugs do for me is they will diminish my ability to confront an uncomfortable life situation without the aid of drugs. In other words, as I'm using drugs, my ability to confront starts decreasing. I need the drug to be able to deal. Without the drug, I'm all like freaked out. Anxiety kicks in. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Stop. Stop talking to me like that all the time. I'll deal with it tomorrow. Those are the three things. So what does enabling do for me? My family, my loving family, the comfortable bubble they've created. Number one, when my family enables me, they make my situation in life more comfortable. Stay on the couch this time, David. Don't be out on the street. Stay here. Are you hungry? Would you like something to eat? The second thing that my family does when they enable is they take away negative consequences. In the name of helping, they will take away my negative consequences. Instead of allowing me to fall flat on my face, they will be there to catch me. And if it costs them $1,000, they'll do it. Especially my mother, who doesn't want me to be hurt. The third thing that my family does for me when they enable is they diminish my ability to confront an uncomfortable life situation because they're in front doing it. Well, I'll pay your bills this time. I'll do this for you. Interestingly enough, drugs and my family are kind of similar, aren't they? You know, that's the issue. What we run into a lot of times is families will get a loved one into treatment and then they'll put them right back into the exact same system. I have seen, I wish I had, my family wasn't all that wealthy, but I have seen, hey, he just got back from rehab. We bought him a brand new car and put him up in an apartment all full of, to kind of reward him, which is the worst thing that you can do. Why? Because my problem isn't drugs. My problem is my ability to confront uncomfortable feelings, things, responsibilities, and situations. And the only way for a guy like me to become stronger is to do it. Not for you to do it or you to do it, but for me to do it. I have to do the work. I'm terrible at it at first, but I get stronger and I get better. Does that answer your question? How do families enable? Yes.
I argue with myself a lot over nurture versus nature.
Sure.
Why in one family where there's evidently predisposition to addictions, one person gets it, or two people get it and five don't.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I'm questioning about now is they always say you have to hit bottom. It doesn't do any good to do an intervention unless they're ready, and whatever that is. So I think you're getting there,
Sure.
But if you could do a little more.
Absolutely. Nurture versus nature, is it genetics? Was I genetically born a drug addict? Was my family an alcoholic? Sure, there were alcoholics in my family, but do I believe it? I stay away from it. A lot of people believe in the disease model. I stay away from it in my personal recovery.
The family has three different type of users. There's the ones
Sure.
that help me to understand that.
Sure. Let me get into it a little bit. The reason I don't grab onto disease model or genetics is because I'm very good at playing the victim. You know, I couldn't help it. Genetically, I can't help it. If you had my body makeup, you would drink too. And it's a guy like me, it's a deadly thought process. The day that I assume I am not the problem, I'm done. You know, until I was willing to assume the responsibility of knowing that I was the problem, there was no solution for me. And I played the victim game. I look back in my history and psyche, and I looked for that moment when I was 8 years old and Mom said that hurtful thing that set me off on the path of addiction. You know, if you had been a better mom, if you had hugged me more, maybe I wouldn't have turned out the way I did. Nurture versus nature, it doesn't matter. It matters for a guy like me which way to go, but it really doesn't matter. There was a study once where they did twins. They saw twins. Twins that had been separated at birth. There was no greater percentage of alcoholism when one was the alcoholic versus just a standard pool. So that would lend to the belief that genetics may have a small part, but they're not the whole thing. Upbringing, somewhere along the line when I was 9 or 10 or 13, I figured out that I didn't have to feel an uncomfortable life situation. I don't know, you know, a teacher made me kind of feel uncomfortable. I had a crush on a girl. I had these thick Coke bottle glasses, and she kind of picked on me. And she said, "You don't ever wash your hair," which is true. God, I'm still mad at her. I'm 39 years old. An uncomfortable life situation. I was terrible at sports. I really wanted to succeed, but I felt this disconnection. I wanted to do well. I experienced uncomfortable life situations, and I found the loophole. And the loophole was not drugs. The loophole for me was reading. I could read and become somebody else. And it's cool to read, but when you're reading a book a day, and that's all you're doing, my family thought I was smart. I had found the first loophole. Later it was computers and video games. My family thought I was pretty computer savvy. Computers are good. I was up till 3 in the morning. I found loopholes early on. I discovered that I didn't have to feel uncomfortable if I didn't want to. In regards to reaching their bottom, most families surround somebody and prevent them from reaching the bottom. The intervention is not for the substance abuser. The intervention is on the family. If I can change a family, I can change the addict. I used to do what was called motivational interviewing. Come out and inspire. Hello, Mr. Drug Addict, I'm going to inspire you. I was once like you, terrible and disconnected, and you can have anything you want. I could inspire him all I want. And he may agree to go to treatment, but 2 days later when he forgets my inspirational speech and is checking himself out, what do we do then? If the system that is keeping the addict afloat does not change, the addict will continue doing what he's doing. That is the issue, and that's the hardest thing. The addict's the easy one to blame, and he is, because he's creating that system. But he has also created a system that he is now dependent on. Us addicts are dependent on the system. Sometimes it's government. I get an unemployment check for this. Sometimes it's friends. Sometimes it's a spouse. I don't have to work. Sometimes it's this or that or the other thing. An addict or an alcoholic very rarely can continue their lifestyle on their own. They need somebody to do it for them. Why? Because all I'm about is the feeling good. I'll go, if it's too warm here, I'll stand right here. And then I'll keep on, I'll do this all day long if the temperature changes. That's all I'm about. I'm like a moth attracted to the flame. Whatever feels good. I am an expert at feeling better. I'm terrible at getting better. Why? Because for me to get better, I have to temporarily feel worse. You know, a lot of people think responsibility is doing the right thing. No, I would say responsibility is doing the right thing, even if it's uncomfortable. That's the difference between me and you, because I did the right thing sometimes, if it was the comfortable right thing to do. But you never saw that I did the uncomfortable right thing. That's the one thing I had in common. You mentioned the 3 different types of substance abusers. You know, there's the social. Some people have a glass of wine, they take it or leave it. Take a hit off a joint. There's even some social hard drug users. My brother tried cocaine twice. Once with me, which, you know, I should be the, back in my drug using days, if anybody used cocaine with me once, they would never use cocaine again. So I should have been the the poster boy. Because I was a crazy person. I was accusing my brother of being a cop. You're a cop, Kevin, aren't you? It's like, I'm your brother. You really